In today's makeover, Garth and I are going to be tackling another project. What we're doing today is creating a concrete server. Now, you all know what servers are. Normally they're wooden and they've got a couple of legs on them and you can put things on top of them. But today, we're showing you how to utilize space to the maximum. We're going to be using this exact wall here, building one out. But first of all, what we've got to do is create the mold, the boxing that we're going to use to support this concrete. Garth is busy with it, so I'm going to check up and see how he's doing. Okay, what's up here?
Tanya, we're going to make a boxing with the server we're going to do against the wall.
Okay.
And all it is a meter long.
Right.
So 500 by 100 mils thick.
Okay, so this can be as long as you want it to be, depending on the area, but with the area that we're going to be working on, you've chosen a meter and half a meter wide.
That's correct, Tanya.
Okay, so this is going to form the sides of the mold, I imagine.
That's correct.
Okay, so this is 100 thick. Is 100 generally the thickness that you'd like to go with in terms of getting the strength in the concrete?
Yes, Tanya, because if you go a little bit thinner, it's not too good.
Okay, and we don't want it to collapse now, do we?
That's right.
Okay, first step is, once you've cut all these, we're then just going to screw them in, is that right?
That's right, Tanya.
Okay, go for it. Remember, we're only needing 3 sides for this because the wall is going to act as the 4th side to hold up our mixture when we throw it in. Alrighty, what we have now is our mold that we're going to be using to putting against the wall here. We have already marked it out. We basically want our server to be dead smack center between this window that we have over here. And these guys are going to be going into the holes that we're going to be drilling into the wall. Basically, we're going to have one thread bar going in here. Garth, won't you just show the folks where the other thread bar is going to be going? So this thread bar is going to be the length of at least one brick that we're going to drill into the hole or into the wall, and then the rest of it is going to be lying in the boxing that we've got here, because this is going to form the basics of our reinforcing, which is important considering that we want this guy to float. So first things up, Garth, you're going to use that big drill bit of yours and whack 2 holes in there. Great work, Garth. Did you go through the other side?
Nearly, Tanya.
Okay, so now what we've got to do is we've got our thread bar and we've mixed some epoxy. Epoxy is basically follow the instructions, but it is a DIY's greatest friend. And what we're going to be doing now is just putting a bit in here, try and squish a bit in, and the rest you then put onto the end of the thread bar. Just put it in like that. There we go. Mix it all on. Should be enough, Egor?
Yes.
Yeah, that's about all right. Okay, and then from here, we just put it straight into the hole. There we go. In you go. Brilliant. It's going to make sure, the epoxy is going to make sure that this guy is nice and secure and certainly not going to remove itself from the wall, which is not what we want. Garth's going to finish off that end, and then we're going to show you the next step. Garth's side is in. We're ready to rock and roll, but now we need to wait a while. We need to wait for this epoxy to dry to make sure that when we do start doing the rest of it, that it is all nicely set. But we can carry on with the preparation in the meantime, getting ready so that we can make sure that everything is set before we throw the concrete in. So while we're waiting for that to dry, next up, Garth, what do we have to do?
Tanya, we have to chip here.
Okay.
So that the new concrete will set into the existing wall.
All right.
So you just take a chipping hammer and just chip around here.
Okay, be careful when you are doing that you don't go too high, Garth, because of course chipping you can get really carried away, and this of course is still going to be exposed as normal wall, so you want to measure it out, the thickness of what it's going to be, and make sure you stay within those parameters. Right, Garth, what's next up?
Okay, Tanya, what we have to do is to put a cleat underneath
Okay.
That'll secure the boxing to hold it against the wall.
And also make sure that it doesn't move at all, or else then your concrete is going to drip through the other side. Okay, let's put that guy on. And you're just going to use some steel nails,
Yeah,
Garth?
steel nails, yes. steel
Okay, excellent. All right, it's not very thick. I mean, all it has to do is just simply hold it in place.
nails.
Right
You've
here,
got enough
I'm
on both
level
sides,
here.
eh?
Yep. Okay, great. Now that that's in place, let's lift up our boxing. It's over here, and that is going to sit on top of that. Notice on top. So have a look here. There's our cleat, and this is going to slide in just on top of it like that. That's it. Perfect, Garth.
Yep.
Get our measurements right as to where it's going to go. Lovely. Now what we do is you'll notice that the thread bar's through here. That already is very stable, and we've got our legs. So we've already pre-cut some legs, and all they're going to be doing is supporting this just for whilst the concrete is drying, once we've thrown it all in. So we're going to put them over here. The most important thing throughout this entire process is once you've put these legs in, that this is level. So what we're going to do is I've got some little wedgies here, which we can then use just to adjust our level, our height that we need. Once we've got that right, we're then just going to screw these in to keep them nice and secure right onto our boxing. Right, Garth, let's put the spirit level on to check if we need to do any adjustments here. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Okay, lovely. This side needs no adjustment. Let's have a look at this side over here. How are we doing?
Oh, very good.
Good. Do we need to do anything?
No.
Okay, now at this point, if you were a little bit off, a bit wonky, then all you do is you have a couple of these little wedges, and then you could just put them in there or at the bottom. That's all you need to do. But now that it's all perfect, all we're going to do is take a couple of wood screws and just screw into the leg and right into the base, just to make sure that it's secure. Okay, perfect. Okay, great stuff, Garth. Now, the next step that we've got is we've just got some tacking wire, and we've got some reinforcing rods. These don't need to be incredibly thick. If you want to go for overkill, you can use like a 10 or even a 12 mil, depending on how you're feeling. But really, you don't need to go for anything so vicious. This is just a 5 mil, and we've cut them already to size. And you'll see what we're going to be doing here is just putting them just like that, and that is going to form our basic reinforcing. If you wanted to, you could always go and buy some reinforcing mesh from your local hardware store, which they will cut to size for you, which you would then put onto here. But with this, it really is small, and that reinforcing stuff is quite difficult to deal with. So what we do is we've got our tacking wire, and we're just going to take the structure like that and tie it to our thread bar. That's all we want to do. This doesn't have to be that tight. Just make sure that it's secure, because all that's going to happen is the concrete is going to be covering this. It's just to make sure that it's really nice and secure. Now what we're going to do is get our mixture ready to throw into our boxing. We're using a 2-part sand, 2-part stone, and 1 part cement. We want it to be quite a runny mixture because we want it to get into all these corners, really get it in so that when we do remove this boxing, that it's got perfect edges. So we're going to go do that, come back and throw it all in. All right, Garth, throw it in. We've now got our mixture. What we're going to do is take a spadeful at a time, plonk it on here, and then just work it into our shutterboard here. Brilliant. The most important part when you've got the concrete mixture in is that it is level with your shutterboard, because you have no levels here because everything is already level with your base that we put in. So the concrete immediately falls as it should be in its natural aspect, which is going to be completely level here. What is important is that you agitate around the corners. Also take a mallet and just bang it on the sides, because what that does is it pops out the air bubbles. Just like that. pops it all out, and then once again, then you work it. And you work it smooth, and you can see the little air bubbles here already that are popping through as I've been agitating it. And this you want to do for as much as possible so that you can get rid of any air bubbles that are there. Smooth it out, and then once we're happy with that, we'll show you how we get our final finish. Now that we've smoothed it off, we're going to leave it to set for about 20 minutes. Once we're happy with that, we're going to come back with a wooden float, and we're going to get our final finish that we need. Garth is now going to float it with a wooden trowel, and all that you're going to do there is good circular movements and try and get your smoothest finish. Remember, as you leave it like this now, well, that's what it's going to look like. And then all you got to do is wait for a week. Wait for a week, and then Garth and I will come back and show you what happens after that. So, it's dried for 7 days. Now's the time for the great reveal. We're going to be taking off the boxing. Very simple, using a drill bit and just reversing them out. Okay, let's have a look. Aha, look at that. How cool is that? Gorgeous. And, oh, wait, this is looking lovely. Go on, quickly, let me get the other side off. One, two, three. Beautiful. Beautiful. Gently does it. You got it there, Garth?
Yep.
Lovely stuff. Okay. Now, Garth, let's get the legs out. Okay, thank you. Aha! And down it comes. Oh, Garth, it's awesome.
Very good, Tanya.
No honeycombing, because we use the mallet, tap, 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 agitated it lots, agitated it, because that makes sure that we've got this beautiful smooth finish. So our floating server is looking good. Of course, what could you use this for? Well, for putting your plates, when you're having a meal out here, makes the perfect surface. But of course, it also is the perfect surface for putting on some plants. Garth, won't you pass me some of those guys that I've potted up? I've already got some lovely herbs that are happening here. Got some variegated nasturtium, beautiful black chili, oh yeah. And we've got some other guys here, some thyme, lemon thyme, flat growing, and of course marigolds to chase away the haw-haws. Pop that on here, and all I've got left to say is that our floating shelf with our extended herb garden is looking absolutely awesome. Get going, plant up all your herbs. Till next week, do take care and happy gardening.
The Gardener is proudly brought to you by PPC Cement.